Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Greater Apes podcast, episode 8, I believe. My name is Jerry Williams, a.k.a. Greater Sapien.
And I'm Jesse, a.k.a. Bino.
And we're probably going to hop right into talking about WandaVision, even though, I still got to, ask how you doing, how you doing, Bean? How's your week been?
It's actually been kind of okay, which is a very odd thing. I mean, there were some difficulties, but had to deal with psychological issues, but it was better.
Good.
I have to mark that there's improvement.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
For me, this was almost like a regular 2019 work week.
Really?
In terms of just like, busyness and all that kind of stuff, which I have to say, not a fan.
Not a fan.
Not a fan. There's muscles that atrophy when you don't, work at full speed, busy wise, and things like that for long periods of time.
Yeah.
And even communication muscles, not just the work, itself, but like the communication of information and stuff. And so it's been a fairly busy week, and things were just kind of, there's clashes happening all over the place because people forgot how to be busy.
They forgot how to do
at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mentioned to
but I know that you're hitting a busy time. That's why this is happening, right?
And And, we do a lot of stuff in Texas, and since Texas is deciding to, completely open themselves back up,
Unmask.
The courts are opening back up. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. It's like, they're going to, so I actually have a case. I'm going to be working on site in the first week of April, I believe. I'm going to be in Marshall, Texas, and this black man's wearing a mask, and there ain't nothing they can do about it.
Jerry, I'm going to design you more of them.
Oh yeah, and maybe have one that says, "If you can read this, you're too close, and I can hit you."
Yes, something like that.
Nice and
I've
small.
been wanting to have a mask that like says right across the mouth, right here. It goes, "You breathe with this," and have arrows pointing right here.
Right.
And I have the ability now. I have all these. Remember, I got all those like little iron-on things. If I can make stuff. I don't think you should use the apron one I made you. I don't think.
I use that as a secondary on top.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Because 2 masks.
Yeah.
Standard now.
Yeah.
My sister in Michigan, nurse, she taught me something, and so I experimented with it. She said if you aerosolize a smell, right? Like she said, like if you could aerosolize sugar water, and you put on your masks, you shouldn't be able to smell it, and you need to see if you can taste it. If you can taste it, you still need better protection. So I have this super strong hand sanitizer, and I know you don't drink, but man, some of these, like in Home Depot or something, you just go,
oh yeah,
because it just reeks. It smells like the worst tequila you could imagine.
Yeah, I've come across that.
Yeah. So it hurts your eyes, everything. So I had to go to the store the other day real quick. I put both masks on. I have these new N95 KN95s, and they're really nice. And you know how I've designed our masks to really, really, and to take into account our beards and stuff. I couldn't taste it. It was awesome. Couldn't even smell it. So I was like, yeah, I did it.
So last couple of days, especially with WandaVision having its up late and everything like that, I just been wiped.
That was kind of hard for me.
Just emotionally, not emotionally, but like intellectually, my brain was just working too much this week. I had to hang out with my folks twice this week, which is already taxing. So I was up there on Tuesday, and I was up again on, I think it was Monday, and I had to go up there again last night. And it was raining torrential downpour, so then a 45-minute drive turned into almost 2 hours.
So that was last night?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? It wasn't in the reports until
they said it was
going
to rain. Yeah. I heard it was going to rain. I thought it was like 30%
I had a 19%. I
Yeah,
had a
I saw 30.
19%.
I had a 30, and then still, it was just, especially up north coming down from Fairfield, it was
Oh,
just buckets, So it's like, okay, gonna go 20 miles an hour.
yeah. For those
But
of
just
you who don't know from that aren't in the Bay Area, like there are so many climates here. So what's Jerry's talking about is like literally less than 50 miles north of where we are currently. It's entirely different. It's entirely
yeah,
different. When you know that there's rain coming, when you know
coming.
there's rain coming, you know that it's going to Marin and
Yeah,
mostly there.
yeah. So yeah, it's been a taxing week, just like mentally. It's like the processor was just like running high, and the fan wasn't quite up to, So it's just like I am exhausted. But so last night was a good recovery sleep. It was good. Just knocked
I was
myself
wondering
out.
because I didn't hear from you. That usually means that uh, you're taking time for such things.
Hmm. Yeah, just recovery. And I watched WandaVision again this morning
You
because
did.
I was so wiped yesterday. The wife and I couldn't watch it, so because I was just like, gotta crash. So watched it again this morning.
I didn't watch it again, so I'm a
Oh,
little.
you didn't watch again? Oh, okay.
I didn't, because normally I would watch it so that my roommate and I could. I'm putting ends and everything. That's today's theme.
Your ruminate. Your
Right,
ruminate.
my roommate. We usually watch it after because you and I are watching it here.
Hmm.
Um,
And by the way, folks, I
but
didn't
we
put
watch.
the last one up online just because I was that busy and that wiped out. I didn't have the mental
Nope.
faculties for it. Plus, wasn't great. It wasn't great,
Nope.
cinema for you guys.
Nope. I
So
noticed it right at the end. I'm like, well,
yeah,
I hope you enjoyed us looking gape mouthed at a thing, going, huh. Because that's pretty much what it was.
yeah,
So I'm glad you didn't post it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So you usually watch it again. You were saying,
yeah, I usually watch it again because then my roommate and I watch it, but we watched it at the same time then because it
yeah,
was so late at night. We were just gonna do that. I didn't get to sleep till 2 hours afterwards or more. That's a hard thing for me to do, to like engage. And then
I flipped a switch after about 40 minutes.
did
It's
you?
like it's like time to go. Because I had to get up in the morning and work. It's just it's one of those things that I still, and my body, I automatically wake up no later than 6 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have that's just going to happen. So I need to go to sleep because I'm going to wake up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, WandaVision
Yes.
episode 9, the series finale,
The
is the
series
name
finale.
of
Yep.
name of the episode. For anyone who was wondering if they're going to go on to a season 2, no, they are not.
No, they're not.
Um, though in this episode, they obviously set up um, a few different future moments for these characters.
Mm-hmm.
With their with the uh, with the after credits sequences.
Yeah.
So
And also Agnes prior to the ending. Like they just put her in a
yes,
nice hold
yes,
just so they can use her again. And that makes me actually think they don't know what to do with her yet, but they want to because she turned so popular.
well, yeah, it's one of those. Well, one for me, I find it problematic when the heroes just kill off the bad guys.
Yep.
Just because it's like, wait a minute. They just died. They didn't get punished. They just died. I want them to stay around
And feel it.
and feel it and know they lost and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, which is what I really liked about, say, in Civil War, that the Black Panther didn't kill Zemo. I'm like, great, he's got to face his crimes, but at the same time, that allows him to be available
Mm-hmm.
to use again.
Right. A classic example of this, which
they're going to be
works,
doing, yeah,
is the Joker. And
yes.
how ineffective Arkham Asylum is.
Right. And so they are using Zemo again in Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's back for that.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, with Agnes, imprison her, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you decide to bring her back again at some point, you can or not. But you left that avenue open.
My brain told me that they may not really have a place for her in terms of using her properly.
Right.
Because if you're going to bring her back, she needs to be used properly.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they want to have such a strong witch character. I mean, they may, but my thought was there'll be a comic book series, a little limited edition, because there is a story there.
Mm-hmm.
Just her being imprisoned in that. She's going to discover as she moves through her new life, strange things happening around her because she's innately magical. Right? There's a good story there.
Yeah.
Of her discovering and waking up out of it and then becoming a threat again. That's a good story.
And they can just keep that
Mm-hmm.
you know, in their pocket and use it, you know, when they want or not or whatever. Yeah.
Now, since we're on Agatha Harkness, I've been trying to acknowledge my innate sexism, and I don't think I did it on purpose. I'm not going to include you into this because that's your decision. Was it a sexist point of view to, and we talked about this before, to assume that there was somebody behind her power and really depending on that, and then also saying that, you know, the Sorcerer Supreme was going to show up and fix or fight or something. And so to me, it's two things. One, it's how that universe works. That's why we're putting that stuff in there.
That's part of it. Yep.
This type of magic.
And I'm pretty sure they had Doctor Strange in the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was like a shot of his freaking
he's walking up the stairs
window, walking up the stairs. It might have, So that was, you know, that's one of those things. It's like, it was there. And
but then also
that, coming up.
Because here's the thing, you and I don't have a problem, and we actually more than don't have a problem. We appreciate the fact that they didn't do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was saying it's possible, but I'm hoping not. I'm hoping it's just her. Yeah.
Right.
There's always a possibility that it'll be like, I think I said, like the Thanos situation where he was, you know, he worshiped death. And so even though he was doing his thing, he was doing it because he was trying to, you know, court this living embodiment of death. There's always a possibility of something like that. Like she has something in mind, but, you know, I'm hoping it's just her.
And the reason that I kind of was bending that way was because that's how magic works in that universe, is that you actually are lent magic. That's the actual difference between Agatha and Wanda. That's the difference. They don't draw. I mean, I guess.
Well, yeah. No. Well, I think they touched on it briefly a little bit in the episode prior when she was being punished by the Coven, that she was accessing things that, you know, that she was tapping into things that she didn't have the right to, that it was beyond her. She was accessing power that she wasn't supposed to be doing. So there was a certain sense of like, the power comes, it's lent to you, and, you know, and she was saying she didn't do it on purpose.
And then, you know, at the beginning of the show, and this is a sitcom thing to do, and that's probably why they went, all right, let a little bit of bad writing happen. Is that the previously on, sort of, not the episode, but the previously on that runs before these things, they struck the fact that witches put runes and nobody else can use magic. They struck that really hard before the episode began. And I go, oh, well, that's going to be part of it, which is something that you see. I don't like to see it, but that one was striking.
It's a reminder. I mean, all shows do it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
You know, you watch a show and they say, you know, previously on, and they don't just show what happened on the last couple episodes. They might show what happened the last couple episodes. And then also this odd encounter with a professor at school. And it's like, oh, he shows up in this episode. That's why he was in the previously on, even though that was 2 seasons ago when that happened.
Yeah. And it's kind of a weird thing because it's a spoiler prior to the episode. Now, there's a part it can work sometimes when you're just like, like for instance, on a Buffy episode, all of a sudden they just show you Spike, and he hasn't been on for episodes after episodes, and you
Right.
just see that they just like touch on him. You're like, woohoo!
Yeah.
You're
Spike
excited, like,
showing up.
oh yeah,
Right.
we get some Spike. But then there's also just like, oh shit, now I know the whole plot.
Right.
Sometimes that
But
happens.
that's not it. Yeah, sometimes. But most people aren't that savvy. Let's just be
Mhm.
honest. They're
Yeah,
in the moment. They're not thinking. Their brain's not running through all the plot threads in their head. Uh, and so
that's actually a
it's
detriment to us, I think.
yes, and it's something they took advantage of for this show. That's one thing I liked about it. But yeah, it's a low common denominator thing. It's a low come down thing.
Yeah,
So
they'll come down.
you have to throw that in there.
And I think that's what happened because
Yeah.
look, it wasn't that long. It was the previous episode
Hey, it was a previous
that we learned
episode,
that. Why can't we
and
just
everyone's watched the previous episode 3 times. Since
I think it was a
it's
mistake.
yeah. Well, I don't mind that too much, but yeah, I understand. I understand the feeling because sometimes it's and not everyone's paying attention at the very beginning, so like that much attention. But what gets me, and I can't remember if they did it in this show at all. No, I don't think they did. But they'll do that flashback of something that happened 10 minutes ago in the episode. When a show does that, you know, when you see somebody doing something and then 10 minutes later, the guy says, "Who's that over there?" And you see him and they go flash to the scene that was 2 ago. So I saw him at the store yesterday. Yeah, we all saw him. It was 7 minutes ago. It's like, that kind of stuff drives me crazy. But it's a device that you need to do.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think they should have. I think people could have fallen. I don't think that enough people would have said, "I don't understand what that happened." Well, then you
Especially in the
didn't
world
watch
of
the series.
binging, it's not as necessary.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because now going forward, people are going to be watching these things in just like bam, 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 bam. They'll remember that. Yeah, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, and that's I mean, come on. Given what we were given, that's like complaining that the butter isn't the right shape on my plate when I have this awesome meal. I mean, that's what that is. Right? It's
I'm sorry. That seems really specific. Did that happen? Did
Nope.
you get criticized for that recently?
Nope. I'm just trying to think of something that means nothing and is my brain said, okay, find something that means nothing in a big situation and that it's ephemeral, that it will end, that the thing itself will end. And that's a pat of butter.
That's funny.
Right.
But so overall, first the episode. I thought the episode was great. There were some low points in there. Some spots where the pacing was a little janky.
I think that usually happens towards. Remember, I said I didn't want this to go the way of Game of Thrones or Battlestar Galactica or something. But it's innate in the thing that if you're trying to fit it into a certain container, there are some things you're going to have to fold right towards the end.
Right.
Just happens.
Right. Yeah, it's exactly. But overall, I'm glad they waited. They weighted in terms of heft the action stuff toward the front of the show, because it wasn't like Avengers level epic battle stuff. There was a lot of like character going on in those battles. There was a lot of like character development and conversation happening, so they weren't as epic. So if they had shifted that toward like that being like the culmination of the entire episode and it ended on that, it would have felt flat.
I agree.
So bringing that toward the front, I thought was good, and then let the fact that it's a character-driven show about grief and healing and growth finish the show off. I thought that was well done, because honestly, I didn't think when it was going 10-15 minutes in, I'm like, they can't, this pace can't last. It won't work as an episode.
Yeah.
Compared to everything else that's been happening on the show.
Right.
The pace wouldn't have worked. And so they didn't sustain it. They didn't try to. They completed it and then they got back to the character stuff. I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah. And then we should include it in the context of things that we've said previously on a Grid Rapes podcast, that we were hoping that people wouldn't come away from, especially this episode, disappointed that they didn't get what they wanted. So I want to put in context that the things we're saying where they're somewhat critical, I don't. I think this was a marvelous series, and I
Oh
think
yeah.
this
No,
episode
yeah.
was wonderful. So the things that we point out, I don't know. That's just us flexing our muscles a little bit, but I'm not disappointed in anything they did. It
No,
hurt.
I would say if anything, the only slightest disappointment that
Mhm.
I might have,
Oh, I have disappointments, but it
but
ultimately, I'm
it
not going to go
is for me
crazy.
ultimately the only like real true disappointment is that they didn't they added another plot thread of the Vision at the end. Like,
Mhm.
where did he go off to? And I
Mhm.
wish there would have been a little bit, even if if I wish I had a little bit more knowledge of where he had went off to, I had gone off to. Uh, Other than that, though, I'm like, great episode. Part of
Right.
me wants to know a little bit more. I was hoping maybe one of the end credit things would, even if just like allude to something happening with that character.
Mhm.
Uh, but
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I would appreciated that. There are a few things that again, in context, that I'm going to say, like, oh, we didn't get that, but I don't care.
yeah, exactly.
But it's just like, and some of them are, not predictions. I don't think we did predictions. We did, well, maybe this,
Oh,
right?
I mean, other than like Cumberbatch showing up or
Yeah.
this and that.
And
Yeah,
we didn't even say it's going to happen,
yeah.
right?
Thought
I
yeah,
think the
but it thought
closest
it was.
team,
Yeah.
I think the closest time we got to that was Loki, when we're like, yeah, I think that's going to happen.
yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah.
And by the way, Paul Bettany working with himself, that's just everything. That's
That's
we
the
suspected it might
the
be, but
best troll.
that
Yeah, we
was
didn't say it on camera. We
awesome.
talked about it afterwards. That because there's the interview, and a lot of people were. I mean, especially a lot of the speculators were going off the
Mhm.
fact, and we brought it up here that he said that he gets a chance to work with someone he's wanted to work with his entire life,
And they have
and
great chemistry.
they have great chemistry in the scenes they have together.
Come
And
on.
and the fact that he was talking about himself is, I mean, he wins. He
Yeah,
wins.
he wins.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
got to give him that.
the people who put together the memes of Spider-Man pointing at
Spider
each other, that
Man.
sort of
Yeah,
thing, they win too. Yeah,
yeah.
you got it. You got it. Nailed it. Some of the things that I wish that they had, because remember, I actually said this was an actual prediction, or at least a strong statement. You don't book Emma Caulfield without doing something with her. Well, apparently you do.
Apparently you do. But
I
yeah,
mean, she got a good emotional part there at the end,
right.
but so we got Dottie twice, essentially, you know.
Yeah.
And then also, what the hell? Did Darcy take a day off? We got less than a second of her, maybe a
Yeah,
second of her.
we got big like 2 seconds of her or
Have fun
something
in
like that.
jail. That's it.
Yeah.
And then throw. I love. Okay, so if there was a situation that they really couldn't put her in, they just couldn't figure out that thing at the end. That
About
where's Darcy?
debriefs
Or
or
for
for
losers
losers.
or whatever. Yeah, that's funny, right?
Yeah.
At least they did it right. But come on,
Yeah.
she could have been standing there. I wanted her. She was part of it. So
Yeah.
that I was
In an
kind of
episode where a
disappointed with.
lot of people were standing around,
And she
actions
could have been
happening.
standing by Haywood, whatever his
Yeah.
damn name is.
Hayward. You had it right like last episode. It's Hayward.
It's Hayward.
Hayward.
Hayward. Yeah, just having her gloat.
Yeah, just like meh.
That's it. Don't give her any more lines if you're out of the budget for paying her. You know, because that's just what it felt like. That was jarring, and so
Yeah, sometimes
I'm not disappointed, but sometimes things are jarring.
Sometimes people's absence are felt.
Right.
Right. And
Mhm.
so her absence was felt.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I think I liked what they did with Jimmy Woo. I thought that was great to actually show him in a great, powerful, telling people what to do, that sort of thing.
I liked the little bit, especially when I watched it again this morning. So Jimmy was coming in to talk to Hayward and
Why they brought him in, I don't
oh
know.
boy.
That was a weird thing. Hey, just bring in the character we captured just so we can gloat over him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so the phone is there on the side, ringing, right, buzzing, and then he slips over there and picks it up from behind his back with a security guard right behind him, not noticing
behind
a
him.
damn thing. I'm like, dude,
Not.
you suck. You're fired.
You are fired. Yeah, seriously.
Especially since it was a ringing phone. No one noticed that the phone was ringing over there and like looked
I think
toward
it actually had a bright color. If I'm not, was it pink?
buzzing.
It was like
Something-
something like that.
But at least for me, there's a trope, that happens these days where someone grabs a phone, they put it behind their back, and then they secretly text, right? They have this
That's what I
ability
thought was
to
going to happen.
secretly text, right?
That's what I thought was going to happen.
But
it would have shown up like,
well, supposedly these people are, their senses are they text so often that they can just do it blindly, right? That's what they always have them doing. They send these texts, right? But so there's that feeling that might happen because he says, it's like, well, you're going to be surprised when Quantico shows up here within the hour, and you're bluffing. And it's like, oh no, he's not bluffing. He just texted them, right? And it's like, but he was bluffing. He had to go and hide, and when he got to some place, he pulled out the phone and made the call.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that
Which
was
is a great character. That's
great
what he would
character
do. That's exactly what he would do.
I thought that was a good little bit there.
Yeah, but I love that.
Then giving him the fact that
that he's going to take care of business.
He's the agent. Well, he's the agent in charge because he called them there, so it's his case, right? Because he called them there, and so he was already there, so he's running the show.
By the way,
yeah,
no indication of who was under witness protection.
I think it was Ralph. Even though I went back and looked and Jimmy saw him on camera and didn't say anything about him.
Oh, he did. Oh, yeah. Well, of course he was there as yeah. Well, he would have said, "Oh, that's my guy."
He said just casually. They're like someone came and said, "Who's that?" And they said, "I actually recast Pedro as he was walking by." And I'm like, "Well, he looked right at him." But the reason I was thinking it was him is because he laughed at his own name.
He did. He did laugh at his own name.
And it's like, so that for me, I'm like,
that it's not something that he's sensitive about.
He picked that name for his secret identity name. Mm-hmm. His name is like, you need
Ralph
a new name. This
Boner.
and that. Boner. Boner.
Ralph Boner.
Yeah, Ralph Boner. So he picked that, so that's my thought was he's the guy that's under witness protection. And that's
plus,
laughed
look at the way the guy was living upstairs in his house. That's not a homeowner.
Yeah. So that's us filling it in, but yes, that was out there. We do know Ralph is. Okay, we got the Ralph part.
Is. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my thought on that. So we got a setup for Captain Marvel 2. With the Skrull.
With a Skrull.
It wasn't who I thought. I figured it was going to be I still think it was the engineer.
That later that might be revealed.
Yeah. I still think the engineer was a Skrull. But so she says that a friend of your mother is, wants to talk to you, heard that you're grounded. Right. And obviously up in space. Now, there's two ways to go with that. She's talking about, the Skrull that was friend of Mom, right? And Captain Marvel and all that, or Nick Fury, or both. Personally,
I see Nick Fury wanting to be a part of this.
When I hear that scene, when I see that scene, I think she's referring to Nick Fury because. Old friend of your mother's, here's you're grounded, sounds like Nick Fury. It doesn't sound like a Skrull talking.
No,
you being grounded is
a human term. Yeah,
it's a very militaristic type of human term. So,
yeah,
and then we know later on that Fury is up on the space station with Skrulls. So
Yeah. Yeah.
could be.
I can't.
And this
I
this takes
can't.
place before that. Before we saw it. So yeah.
I can't think of a YouTube review of any of these episodes without a scene of Nick Fury at the beach transition to ship. I've seen that more than any other thing in the Marvel universe. That scene, I've seen it more than any other scene in the Marvel universe. That and Loki dropping out of the sky at or dropping out of the I've been falling for 30 or whatever minutes.
Yeah, the things get put on a loop a lot. So I'm thinking that's Nick Fury or the combination of Nick Fury and the Skrull leader. Dissident, whatever you want to call the guy that was impersonating him in Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so looking forward to that.
Her powers, I liked seeing how they manifest, and it was sort of expected that they aren't going to be like fully formed, and that it was just a reflex.
Reflex.
Mm-hmm. But I can't wait to see more. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, but
that's going to be an awesome looking effect.
There's no expectation. I mean, well, there's a certain amount, but we can't really expect her to like shoot a blast out of her hands when she doesn't know she has the powers, right?
Unless it happens by accident
she kills somebody.
Yeah, because there's a thing. I don't know if there's a name for it, but we know we have an origin story. But an origin story has a scene. It always has a scene of a miscontrol, or they make a mistake with their power. That happens.
Right. In Spider-Verse, he stuck his hand to her hair. They end up getting
Tony Stark blows up blows up a car.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a word for that. It should be power mishap or no, because it's more than that. It's origin stories or other.
It's more. It's not quite. That's like a wardrobe malfunction kind of thing, but yeah.
So
have to come up with a word for that one.
Yeah.
So there's some exploration there. There was a setup for Doctor Strange too.
Yes.
Well, we assume because it's Wanda reading the Darkhold,
and this is a problem with me.
I
know story-wise you had to do it. And it's not that big a problem because Wanda's broken. Just because she was able to do the things that she was able to do, let go of the children, let go of Vision, doesn't mean she's okay.
Right.
But it also shows me that she's the story arc of somebody who is grieving, and we want to see that then they have a peace. We were given that only to discover that it doesn't really exist. And I know what had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if she was okay with things, she wouldn't have even gone for it. She had to pick that thing up.
Right. But the thing is, she that's the story of the Darkhold.
Yeah.
The story of the Darkhold is everyone thinks they can just look at it.
Right. It's a Palantir.
Yeah. Everyone thinks they can just
Lord
look
of the
at
Rings,
it.
everybody.
And it just doesn't work. When they used it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they thought that the robot lady, thought she could. Oh, she's just a computer. She can look at it and she can translate it, whatever. No, you can't.
Nope. It turns into code.
Yeah, and so
I did because we're not showing what we did. It was funny to me that you look at the Darkhold that they represent or that they present, and thing's got like 7 pages in it. I love that. I think that's so funny. It's like a picture book. It's like the Darkhold picture book. That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that Necronomicon in Evil Dead had more pages than that.
Oh my God, that one had thousands of pages. When you think of how fast or how long it took for it to fly through.
Have to just assume these are mystic pages, and as they regenerate as they get to the other end. Of course. So they don't have to. You don't have to hold so many. Can't. Right. People can't haul around. Darkhold can't weigh 400 pounds. It's just.
But if we were to put the Darkhold in Swiper, It would be the biggest book you could imagine. And everybody wants it, and they all have access to it. They can't lift the damn cover. It's just sitting there in the middle of a desert, and everyone's like, Jesus, have you tried? Yes, I have tried. I've tried. Some of those pages are super sticky.
That's funny. So what we have there, so there's a couple things, which I just thought of just now, but we have her reading the Darkhold and hearing the voices of her children calling for help.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are those the voices of her children in her memory calling for help? I haven't tried to match it against previous scenes to see if they're the exact same sounds as previous. Or,
like, in other words, is it her memory?
Is it her memory? Or
to show her motivation, or is she actually hearing them?
Yeah, or is she actually hearing them because they do technically still exist wherever the remnants of her spell are in the multiverse, wherever their essence is still out there, and
right. And then that could introduce the big bad for Doctor Strange. But here's the thing, and I should have looked this up before we started talking, because all the stories that I've ever heard, those boys were remnants or were pieces of Mephisto's soul. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. No, someone else. I didn't know this, but I actually, in Comics Explained, I started watching it, and it was somebody I'd never heard of. It was another deity, or it was another elder god. It was somebody, but it wasn't a Mephisto. And I was like, wait, what? Because everybody's been saying it over and over and over and over and over. But they showed somebody in a throne in front of that iconic picture of the boys as babies in an energy field. It wasn't Mephisto.
I have to go back and take a look. It wasn't Nightmare?
Nope. That was the thing. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to look for it.
I have to take a look. But yeah, so so now we're set up for her to, I mean, we kind of assume, these are all just assumptions, that she's going to, start manifesting power again in order to get her kids back, and then thus, universe gets cracked open, blah 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 blah. Or she's already done it. Part of my thinking was that when we saw the scene, we see Wanda just having a normal little life there, and then we pan past her and go into the room where she's reading the Darkhold. Is that her in both places? Is the Scarlet Witch manifestation something different because it did show up? It showed up kind of Phoenix Force like, when the Mind Stone opened up. So is there a difference between her as the Scarlet Witch being kind of like that Nexus being, something else, and then the actual just like Wanda person who's just actually just kind of going through their life, doing their thing?
The explanation I heard for that was that she had mastered astral projection. So the one that's drinking the tea is her, and the one that's reading the Darkhold is an astral projection, and it kind of looked like that too. So I'm okay with that if that's the deal.
It's one of those things that, why though? Just there's no one there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, a quick search.
Other than being kind of a cool.
It's Master Pandemonium.
Oh, it was Pandemonium, huh?
Whose soul was shattered, and so they were reabsorbed into Master Pandemonium. But isn't that weird? Because we all thought, what is that called when everybody has the same memory of something that didn't exist?
Well, no, he was in the original story. Mephisto was in the original story.
Oh, I'm sure, but it's not his soul.
So I mean, it's always possible that it was.
It was retconned.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Yeah, that's probably it.
So it's not the Mandela effect.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him when he came out of jail. I was there. I got his autograph.
You knew he wasn't dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anything else on that episode that I was thinking about? Not really.
Not
I
really.
just, I want to
It
watch the
didn't
whole
get a
thing.
lot of information. We got information,
Mhm.
but we didn't get a lot of information.
Yeah, yeah. It was, it was
I was
less
expecting
about.
that.
Yeah, it was less about information for upcoming things. I mean, they gave you some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it was more about tying the bow on what these characters were going through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the duel between the two visions, just kind of this intellectual duel.
And I love the physical duel too,
Yeah.
because it was, you always see Vision fight, you know what he's capable of. To see both of them capable of it, that was really interesting. Like when they flew together and there was that big hit,
right?
I was like, in the real world, that would have been one of the loudest things that has ever happened on Earth.
Clang, yeah.
Yeah,
that's Captain America blocking Thor's hammer with the shield.
Correct. That's correct. Exactly. Yeah.
Except for, if they're, dense enough that they don't actually vibrate that much.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It
would be the quietest thing that ever happened on Earth, Jerry.
The quietest thing. Either way, they got it wrong. But
it should have been like.
I like the way they use their powers because they weren't using them like trained human fighters.
Right.
He's like he threw a punch and Green Vision grabs onto his arm by just locking the density of his forearm.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't grab his wrist. He just locks the density of his forearm. The other one punches him in the chest and then holds on to him on the inside of the chest and pulls him that way. They're using their powers in a way that you.
That's what I really liked.
Yeah,
I thought, oh, look at all that. They're phasing in and out. It was crazy because you never got to see that before,
and you don't get to see it in you don't get to see it that much in other powered people where you go, come on, you guys do not know how to use your powers. You just come on. You don't know how.
You've had these for how long now? Yeah.
You don't know how to use your powers. I'm sorry. Even Jedi. It's like, come on. It's like one has no Jedi figured out how to turn off another Jedi's lightsaber.
I know.
But it must
be. It should be, because look, we get into theory of that. It must be that in order to wield a lightsaber, you must concentrate on keeping it on.
Keep it up, right, or something. Yeah, it's like,
right.
But it's like, hey, instead of moving that rock over there, close his eyelids.
Yeah, there you go. Pop his eyes out. Pop his eyes out.
I can understand, not necessarily because you feel it a little bit, but it's just like little things. Like, boom, I'm going to plant your foot to the ground right there. I'm just going to force plant your ankle, so you're totally off and you can't reach me. And it's like, come on. Just dumb stuff. I'm going to grab your cape and just pull it over your head. I'm going to do this.
Right. But the funny thing is that we're talking about the Jedi stuff and so forth. So you can see, like, if put into real world circumstances, that's exactly what they would do. At least start. Right.
Right.
Because if it was agreed upon, hey, we're not going to do this because it's messy and it's weird. And every single one of us is going to be walking around with one foot. But you would at least expect the dark people to be like, well, I don't fucking care.
Right.
I'm going to win. I'm going to stop your heart.
Yeah.
Period. I'm going to crush it. That sort of thing. So it would just be, so in the real world circumstances, you could see that would happen, but in the cinematic universe, and can you imagine how much information would have to be thrown at you to see that occur? Do you know what I mean?
But it's one of those things that happens.
I agree.
We'll get back to one. Come on, we're just nerding out here. For example, in the recent Star Wars trilogy, where they're stopping, laser blasts in midair.
Yeah.
Right. right. That's just an extension of Darth Vader going, pew, pew, and then bouncing off of him. But it's like, well, why weren't they doing it before? There's always that question of why weren't they? Because the creators, they weren't thinking about it before.
They weren't thinking about it, right?
They weren't thinking about it before. Hey, they could have done it. It's like, why weren't they just having ships go to light speed and shatter through other ships all the time?
Right.
Instead of just more recently, it's like, is that the first time that happened? It's like, come on, someone must have thought of that. I know I thought of it when I was a kid.
Yeah, because here's an example of the lightsaber duel stuff. Because just now when we described that, we're picturing two Jedi. Obi-Wan against Grievous should have been over in less than a heartbeat, because he would have just crushed his heart. That's it. Done. You're done.
Right.
You've finished. Because Grievous is not able to use the Force. He's Force sensitive. He is good at lightsabers, but he can't use the Force. He can't stop you from popping his goddamn head off. I wish, well, now I hope in any future thing, it's sort of the it's the trope of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he just shoots him. There should be this guy who's just like this badass with all these lightsabers, does all these moves, and the guy just goes and head just collapses. That's it. Done. Right? Or his brain comes out his nose. Whatever. Just catch the guy off guard. He's showing off too much. Take advantage of it. Or affect his feelings. Make him feel like he's just got broken up with. I mean, come on.
Right. Pinch his bladder.
Pinch his bladder. But here's the thing before we move on from
I call that
if we are
Beano maneuver.
What? Oh, the pinch.
That's how I stop you. I'm like, Rah.
No, that's how I continue to watch a movie throughout the thing. That's my Jedi move. Whenever I last through an entire movie. But in real world situations, you and I used to joke about like the other uses for lightsabers, like making toast, instant toast. But for me, I thought about this, right? So say we're in the Star Wars universe and it's just like, oh, hey, I find out I have the Force. Oh, I'm too old to go to Jedi school? Okay, it's all right. What am I going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to become the best theater tech ever. That's what I'm going to become.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm just going to sit backstage, close my damn eyes, and everyone's going to have everything they want. Scenery, props. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, he says. Like I can't wait for it to happen.
Yeah. Like it's going to happen. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
Yes,
you guys trust me. Yes, when I get my Jedi powers, Broadway will be open again. Just me with mannequins. Oh my God. Okay, stop it.
Puppet show.
I'm a puppeteer, but even that's creepy for me.
Your puppeteers would be it'd be crazy. Yeah. So yes, good use of powers.
Yes.
Good use of powers with
very good use of powers.
And that. But I like the fact it's like, okay, we're the same. We have the same powers. All right, can we just talk this out?
Yeah, there was no.
We're logical beings. We are logical.
And it wasn't
beings.
even. There was always going to be a standoff there because neither one of them had an advantage over the other. Their programming is identical when it comes to that sort of thing.
That kind of
protection of oneself. Yeah.
So I thought that was
the laws of robotics, as it were, are identical.
So I thought that was a good, and that's what it kind of ended up being. It's like, hey, let's deal with this here. And so then it ended up just being a stalemate. One just, okay, all right, I got to go think about this. Bye.
Right. Okay, you take your shit. So, yeah, I think it was a remarkable achievement in television. I really do.
Yeah, especially the way they approached it, in the end, now that I look at it, I don't mind, the length of the episodes as in the aggregate, but at first I'm like, man, these episodes feel a little short.
Yeah.
Then I think they got their groove, and it started to be. They weren't really longer. They're like maybe another 2 minutes longer, 3 or 4 minutes longer. But I think they got their groove a little bit even more subtle.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see where they go because Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be very different. I think each episode's 45 minutes or to an hour or something like that, and there's only
Mhm.
6 episodes. So there's only 6 episodes.
Mhm.
I'm assuming the last episode will probably be like an hour and a half, or something
Right.
like that.
So then that leads to my question about future. I know that we're gonna try to do the same thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier. To
Well,
talk
so
about it.
like next week we'll probably find something else to talk about. We don't have
Well,
anything
that's what I'm
new.
going to say. The next thing we're going to talk about. I mean, are we going to go right? Because it'll
Well,
be right around the time that the Snyder Cut will come on, right?
we're going to talk about the Snyder movies next week.
It is, right?
Yeah, well,
The movies.
next week, because next week is a null week. There's nothing new coming out.
So we're not going to get the Snyder Cut before then.
No, the Snyder Cut is 2 weeks from yesterday.
Okay.
Or something like that. I think it comes out on Thursday or something like that. So that's
Okay.
2 weeks. So
I'm not watching those. Jerry was telling me,
I'm gonna watch them again.
Yeah, Jerry was just like saying, "Okay, so we're gonna, this is us having a meeting about what these might look like," and he's like, "Yeah, we should really talk about the films themselves before we talk about the Schneider Cut." Schneider. Why am I saying Schneider? His name is Snyder, right? I don't
Picturing
know.
a guy with his
cigarettes
rolled up here.
The Schneider Cut. Okay, I'm going to come up with the Schneider Cut. Just so you're aware, I'm going to write that. It's going to be the Schneider Cut. If I could remember the vocalizations of that guy. Anyways, but Jerry's like, "Yeah, we should talk about the films," and I'm like, "Oh crap! Does that mean I have to watch them because I've been holding off?" He's like, "Yeah, no, I don't." That's how much of an impact they made in me. I can tell you what I hated about them already.
Okay,
I can tell you what was wrong with them. I can tell you what was wrong with them.
Don't tell me about them now. We'll have a conversation next week.
Yeah. So
because I've already watched Man of Steel again. I'm partway through
that movie.
I'm partway through Batman v Superman.
I may watch that one again.
Which made a mistake just by the title.
Oh my god, it was.
I'm sorry, Batman v Superman. And okay, we'll talk about this next week. But
yeah,
it's Batman versus Superman vs. V Superman is a legal term. That's a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Batman v Superman is a lawsuit. Batman versus Superman is a fight.
Now I gotta write Batman v Superman.
Yes.
Now I gotta write that. Your Honor. The court presents the following evidence. Go ahead. Superman is a dick. That's hearsay. Objection. There, I just did it.
Superman. I'm like, it's like, come on. Yeah, so partway through that, and then I'll watch the original Justice League cut.
I did watch that again recently.
Yeah, and then I don't think, as far as I'm concerned, like Aquaman stands alone. It's not part of this thing. It's got its own issues.
I can't recall one instance of that movie.
Okay, then maybe we will bring that one up.
So maybe I just have to watch that one.
Yeah, well, yeah, go ahead and watch that one. And then, yeah, I don't know if I can subject myself to Suicide Squad.
Nope. Even though there were some subtle things that I hated about it.
Yeah, but I might. But the thing is, I'm looking forward to the next Suicide Squad.
You are?
Yeah, because it's James Gunn.
Oh, so yeah, it'll be kind of funny.
So so he's taken that over. It looks crazy. He's putting up more obscure people in goofy ass costumes. It's not trying to be.
So it's tongue in cheek. It's making fun of itself.
Well, the original Suicide Squad movie, and by the way, they're not calling this one Suicide Squad 2. They're just calling it Suicide Squad. It's like, who cares about the other
DC,
one?
man.
Because they're just like, yeah, we'll erase the other one. But the original Suicide Squad was trying so hard to be Guardians of the Galaxy and failing. So it's just funny that they actually got the Guardians of the Galaxy guy to do it, because he's like, yeah, I like doing weird characters and sticking them together and making them work. So I trust him because it looks properly stupid. And I think
does his brother have a big role? I hope so. I hope
he
he's
does
some
have a role.
obscure weirdo.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's like Polka Dot Man or something.
There just needs to be a movie with like every director's brother and every director's person, because here's who would
because you
here's who would be in that
your
movie.
Bruce Campbell's.
Bruce Campbell would be in it. Tom Hanks's brother, who looks identical to him,
Colin,
will be in it. Ron Howard,
Nathan Fillion,
Nathan Fillion, Clint Howard. I mean, Clint Howard. I love that guy. How much do I love that guy? Every time he's in a movie, I am happy.
Yeah, so everyone's
name one person that happens every time. I'm like, oh, Slee Stacks. Chaka, that's his name.
Yeah. So that'd be funny. So I'm looking forward to that. But so I don't know if I may have to subject myself to that one. And I'm not concerned with Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's a different beast altogether. Did you ever see Harley Quinn?
I didn't see that.
It's a different beast. It's
I know it's supposed to be better.
It's better. It's got its issues, but not the same reason. There's some pacing issues and some things like that, but it's not like, oh, this is a crap concept and they're doing a terrible job at it. There's just some basic like standard film criticisms of it. The pacing's a little funky on there.
All right, can we get into, because we're going to talk about the thing specifically, can we get into just really quick how shitty DC is? It's just shit. I don't know why they can't pick their shit up. It is consistently bad. They know it's bad, and they continually make bad decisions. Because remember, I'm starting to get into Comics Explained, right? And I'm enjoying myself just getting some background information that I didn't have before. And then there was one that was it was the story of it was called the Dark Side War. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that might be a good thing to get some history and so on and so forth. That is some convoluted shit. I thought retconning in Marvel was bad. Holy crap. He's literally discussing something and he goes, all right, hey, everybody. So I'm going to talk about Darkseid War. And just so you know, everything I'm about to tell you isn't real anymore. I'm just going to tell you what the book said, but now it's been changed twice. Twice. Oh my God. It's like every single one of their characters is
they got caught up, and they still
Wanda
do.
And Pietro Maximoff.
Right.
They just constantly change. I couldn't believe it. How many times he goes, he'd make a statement and go, which is not real anymore, which was changed by so and so.
It's fucking hell. It's two things, and I criticized it about Marvel in the early 2000s, but it's the need for events. This whole event-driven publication. So it's like we have to have a thing that affects everything. So then everyone has to buy all the different books to get the whole story. So we got to have, we can't just have a Superman story. We can't have a Batman story. It's got to be something that integrates everybody. Marvel did the same thing. But they tend to do it annually. They were like, they would do something, and it would only be like for 4 episodes for a while there. And then in the 2000s, they got worse. But they have that. And then you have the new management, I have to rewrite things tendency. So then it's like somebody new comes on.
You know what's wrong?
They can be great.
You know what's
they
wrong?
Can be great writers.
Batman needs to have his parents back. I don't know. Thank God they don't touch shit like that. But
well,
it's come across that table.
They just do another. They just go back and they go back in time and then have Bruce get killed instead of Thomas, and then Thomas becomes Batman, and then they.
Which I have heard that. I mean, okay, so that's interesting. That is interesting, right? In terms of a concept, that stuff I don't mind. Like some of the things that they do, because we have a multiverse in Marvel, that they're like, okay, and the What If series, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah, that stuff I find interesting because it's not canon. It's just like, hey, let's play with this.
Yeah.
But. And I know that retconning happens in Marvel, and that it can be annoying because they've changed things, right? But DC, it's crazy. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. How bad it was. How consistently bad it is when it could be so good.
Yeah,
A
it's that
real
kind of
Superman movie would be awesome.
right. Yeah. So we can talk more about DC next week when we talk about also when it gets into the DC cinematic universe, because yeah, that's a whole getting into how a real Superman movie. By the way,
Hmm.
the Superman and Lois TV show, at least the first episode, it's
Yeah,
really good.
everyone's telling me it's great. I have
It
no
was really
interest.
good. Yeah, it was really good. They did a good job.
I've never had any interest in any of the and this will be the reason why. Any of the Superman television shows. I hate it. I know that it's good. There's probably good writers. They have the money. They have great actors. I don't know why they chose that guy for Superman, but whatevs.
He works. Yeah, it was weird. I'm he's not growing on me. He's still kind of odd, but you know, he was Superman in the Supergirl series, you know, so it was like he wasn't a main character. You know, it was
Right.
Supergirl's show, and then and then
Still
they gave
a
yeah,
weird casting decision.
yeah,
Great actor. I
yeah,
have zero problems with him. I want to see him in more stuff. But yeah, what were all of them? There's so many of them. This is the problem that I have with DC, and I know we're going to talk about this later, but this is the problem I have with DC. How many super things can you fucking have before you just go, hey, we got enough super things? Can we
right,
just stop with the
right.
super things?
Yeah,
How many
well,
bat things can you have? Ah, fuck. All right. There's 17 bat things. Can we stop? I mean, Marvel has this problem too when it comes to symbiotes or spider things. They do.
oh yeah, 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 no,
Right?
yeah,
There's
yeah,
only 2 Wolverine type things.
yeah.
Maybe Lady
But no, the
whatever.
symbiote thing got out of hand. I can't stand it. There's not a single one of them that I find the slightest bit interesting in terms of a character. They need
And
to
they're
stop.
coming.
Yeah,
They're coming. They're going to be introduced in the new Thor.
yeah.
There's
The
already
new
a
Thor.
picture of one. Yeah, Thor Love and Thunder.
I didn't see anything in Thor
Well,
of
because
a symbiote.
uh-huh. Yeah, there's
Okay.
this mystery thing, and like and of course, people could be wrong, but
Mhm.
there's this mystery thing, and I mean, like Gore symbiotes come from his planet.
Yeah, I don't know where they came up with that. That's a retcon thing. Because Cinemas had nothing to do with his planet. I don't know where
No,
that
but
came
that's
from.
just where they are because of
Yeah,
some other guy.
yeah, yeah.
I
I don't know
hope
where
they
they.
don't.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah,
they don't, because
yeah,
I
yeah.
never want to see a symbiote again. I haven't even watched Venom movie, and people are telling me it's great. It's fun.
No, it was garbage.
Oh, was it? Okay,
Oh
good.
no, it was garbage. It made money because it came out just after a Spider-Man film, and so people went and saw it, and then it got panned, you know, and most people said it wasn't any good, but it made a ton of money, so they're going to make another one because it got that first boost.
That is the problem with
Yeah,
symbiotes.
but it was
That
garbage.
happens constantly. How many? I mean, here's what happened when it comes to writing in the writing room when it came to Spider-Man symbiotes. Someone looked up Venom in the thesaurus and made a character for every entry. That's what happened. I know it's what happened. I could see it. I could see it as I was reading. I was like, wait, there's this many? List of symbiotes. Symbiotes.
I don't even.
Oh my Lord.
So honestly, as much of a comic nerd as I am, I don't even. I won't get out of my chair to go look up a symbiote book. I'm nope.
Yeah.
Nope, sorry.
And the only reason it came up is because I was looking up stuff that might come up with Gore the God Killer. I was looking at it. And I get it because
again,
I
have no idea what they're going to do with it. Yeah,
Jerry, his sword is supposed to be a symbiote.
Yeah, whatever.
It was created by that guy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, sorry. Nope, that's a retcon. Nope. Go ahead.
No, but the retcon for him. No, the retcon. Oh, it is a retcon because he took the sword off of a dead god.
And then at some point they said,
"Oh, here's 2 black things. Let's make them the same thing."
Stop.
That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's that kind of hackery. So but that kind of hackery tends to get at least it has so far get weeded out when it gets to the MCU.
I hope so.
You know,
I really, really hope so because
Venom and all that kind of stuff. That was Sony. You know, that's still Sony, and then they got to deal with that part of it. They're like, hey, how can we?
They can have that one.
How can we hold on to the the Spider brand but not use Spider-Man because we're letting Marvel use Spider-Man right now? Okay, Venom.
They can have it. Have at it.
Stop it.
Do all your shit.
Stop it.
I mean, there's a market for it. Make your money, but I'm not watching it, and don't interfere with my stuff.
Yeah, and Venom is just was just a product of bad '90s extreme comics.
Yeah.
But there's a lot coming out. I mean, if they got to open these theaters back up, because we got Black Widow, we have Eternals, Spider-Man 3. There's one other supposed to come out this year. It's like 4 freaking Marvel films are supposed to come out this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then Captain Marvel 2, Doctor Strange 2, and something else. I was like,
Doctor
like
Strange
7 in the
isn't this year?
I don't believe so. I think it's next year. I think it's
in
next
2021, 2022.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Ooh, that's hard to say. 2022. 2022.
There is a ton of stuff, but
yeah,
I am looking forward. I'm curious. I'm looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's going to be different. It's going to be very different tonally. But the
it's
more
my
I
least
read
favorite
about it,
of the properties.
Yeah, the more I read about it, I'm interested in how it fits within the tone of today, because one, they're going to have U.S. Agent, who was just super patriotic dude. They're going to be dealing with the fact that a black person might be Captain America.
Right. I'm interested in that.
And so they're going to be dealing with the fact that in the Marvel universe, the people are going to have to deal with the fact that a black person is Captain America. Not us as viewers, but the people in the world. And so you're going to have this U.S. agent who's going to be talking about how that guy's not the real Captain America. Real Captain America looks like me.
Right.
And I think that's going to be an interesting thing for them to go into. Very interesting that they were doing this just before last year, when racial tensions really started to hype up. So they were already kind of thinking this kind of thing. And the Flag Smasher character, the Flag Smasher, or the Flag Smashers organization, which
I don't even know who that is.
It's an anti-patriotic terror organization.
Okay.
Which I think is going to be very interesting, because we have issues with patriotism in this country in terms of whether or not it's good. It's like, well, what's good patriotism?
What is patriotism?
Yeah, we have this conversation as in real society. So I'm curious as to how it's going to be used in the show, and how fans who are across the entire political spectrum will react to that conversation. I think that's going to be interesting to watch. Fans who tend to be, they're all over the place, but there tends to be a conservative bent to them. There's tend to be a protectionism of bit to them. How are you going to deal with the fact that they're having an open conversation about racism and Captain America, and patriotism and Captain America, and what really means to be a patriot? That's going to be interesting. And I'm hoping they didn't have a chance to do it in WandaVision, but the snap, the blip, whatever they want to call it, that happened for them in 2018, I guess it was, or 2019, and then affected them for the next 5 years, is a great parallel to freaking COVID.
Yep, it really is. But this was all filmed prior or through the beginnings of, right?
Right. But it's going to be the fact that people are going to be living in a situation where they're having the stresses that we went through, but for different reasons. And then having a conversation about patriotism and having a conversation about racism while going through that suffering, which is what we did last year. I'm really interested in that, where that goes, especially since it was in production for part of that time and then finished up production in the winter of last year after a lot of that. So I'm curious if that had any bearing on where things went.
I hope so, because but then there's another part of me that wants the escapism, but I don't think that's what the show is going to be. I mean, if there's going to be any point to it, it's going to be something like that, something to make you think. And I like that the MCU takes it on. I do.
Yeah.
I want them to take
Loki
on,
will be escapism.
Loki would be escapism, or parody.
Yes, with
Because you could still
touch.
you could still touch on the things, but it would be a parody of it.
Yeah.
But then with a lot of the things I'm trying to catch up on so that I can be more informed when I'm talking. And then there were people who kept saying like that they think that this engineer might be Blue Marvel. And I was like, who?
Well, that was Monica's boyfriend.
Yeah, I found that out. And
I was thinking that possibly because
dude,
okay, he's a scientist dude.
But I want that character.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting character.
Yeah.
Who actually, the whole point of him is to talk about what you just hope that Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah. You know, I thought, I was like, yeah, wow, good for you. Marvel's always been better at that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got there's a certain amount of so far with with few missteps here and there. With like Inhumans was a crappy series.
Never watched it.
You never saw that one, and I thought Iron Fist was a misstep. In their casting, plot wise, it was fine, but casting, I thought it was poor choice. They've been mostly trustworthy, so got to say, okay, you've got the cred. I got to give you some slack to say this is what you decided to do. Okay, Falcon and Winter Soldier show. Okay, it doesn't make me jump out, and say, hey, I'm going to go stand in line for that one. But got to say I'll be there because you guys have been trustworthy so far.
Well, do you think it began its life as a movie?
No, but I'm just, no.
So they always, because that's so funny. I never even recalled that. WandaVision was meant to be a television show.
Oh yeah, these are all meant to be TV shows. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
But staying up late is the equivalent of standing in line these days.
No doubt. No doubt.
Hitting refresh is the equivalent of standing in line.
Of taking a step forward.
He's like refresh. No, refresh.
Yeah. I want theaters to open, but I'm so scared.
Oh yeah.
I got to find out more about this California strain.
No, don't.
I have to be knowledgeable. I have to know. I want to stay here, Jerry.
It keeps you up at night.
I know, but I have to know. It would keep me up at night if I didn't know. Is worse. I mean, and that's really that's really it. Is that my brain's going to engage in it. So you try to choke it, or you try to soothe it with saying, things. That's a coping mechanism, right? You're afraid of something, learn more about it. Maybe you won't be so afraid about it. There have been times when I've been wanting to, I know, but there have been times when I wanted to go outside to go grocery shopping. I have this whole thing, and that's what I have to deal with today is Safeway and how crappy they are when it comes to their online ordering. They charged me so much money for a replacement item when they should have just said, we don't have this.
We don't have it. Right.
3 times the price.
Wow.
There was a sale on like pork shoulder, something that was $4 for 3 pounds. It was like a special. Now I get it. We didn't order it in time. Right? Don't give me something that's now $15 a pound or something. Don't. You don't have it. That's fine.
Isn't there a check thing where you can say, don't give me replacement stuff?
Yeah, but sometimes you want them because it's weird. Like for instance, like a few weeks ago, it was we wanted some artichokes to have artichokes, and their replacement was we don't have artichokes large, so we give you artichokes large. Yeah. Exactly. But then there's also things like, and I've contacted them about this before, and You know, because I'm white. I get to do this shit, Jerry. My fucking hobby.
Hold on a second. All right, I'm gonna take that little section right there.
Oh, damn it. Well, it's my right. I get to complain. That you know what? Here's the funny thing. It actually is something that white people should do responsibly, because I get listened to. That's what I'm doing. I get listened to. So many of the times that I complain about something, or I want to go up the chain about something, is that I think like, you know what, dude, you're privileged, you're smart, and you have some time. This is something that people don't have. No, I mean, I honestly,
no, it's just a funny sentence.
Yeah. But you know, so that it's like, you know what? This is like, for instance, Oakland parking, right? Oakland parking preys on poor, uneducated people.
No,
I mean,
yeah,
just straight up
frickin'
does. It's a
vultures.
logic puzzle. And so I fight it because of those things I told. I'm white. I'll be heard. What were the other ones? I think that's the only one that matters. Yeah, it's funny because it's true, ladies and gentlemen. I hate it. You know how much I hate it. But the reason that I feel like I have a responsibility, it's like, you know what? You're not going to prey on people. I'm going to cause trouble, because some people who have to work 60 hours a fucking week, and take care of children and all these things that aren't me, you know, I have to do something. Jesse Vale. Oh God, what would I be called myself? All right, Jesse Vale, Justice Karen. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So when it comes to Safeway, it's just like, come on, you know, there are people, and I'm not even talking about white privilege. The only thing I'm talking about white privilege is here is that I will be heard. That on some level, I'm more liable to meet somebody who looks like me when I complain. And there are people out there who probably just put away their groceries. They're tired. They went and picked them up. Their kids are yelling at them and this and that, and taking this and this and that. Because, I mean, look, my roommate and I had to stop and say, wait, something's missing. And then take the time to look at my receipt to notice that there's like $80 worth of things they did not give us. Right? And actually, I meant to check this today. $80, Jerry, worth of things that they charged me for and weren't there. Right?
What?
Exactly. So, and you would think like, oh, okay, well, you know, mistakes made, so on and so forth. Yes, but dude, the implications of this are huge, because, God damn it, just open the damn thing. I'm looking at my phone because, yep, they didn't email me. On some level, they know there was a bag full of shit that didn't go into a car.
Ah, gotcha. Right.
Right? I'm not contacted. If I don't contact them, they will make no effort to give me.
It's in the wind. It's just gone. Yep.
They will make no effort. So I have to. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I have this leisure. Not even because of COVID. It's just how my life is. You know, I'm this artist performer dude who kind of works my own hours and stuff like that, and I'm really shitty at it. So I just have a lot of free time. So, you know, that's my superpower, Jerry. I got too much time on my hands, man. That's what I am. So yeah, so now, so I got to go deal with them. And you know what? It's going to be difficult, dude. I'm fucking smart. And it's going to take some doing. It's going to take some finesse. It's going to take some not getting angry. It's going to take a lot of skill sets to do something that they should have done. That's $80, dude. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
To just let it go into the air. So at any rate, because I have free time, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to have notes. I'm going to have talking points. I'm going to have proofs. No, really, I am.
No, that's
because this is how I can organize my thoughts instead of just getting on there and be like, I mean, come on, everybody. You see how I talk on this damn thing. I forget things constantly. I have to have these notes or I just won't do it. So at any rate, that's what I have to deal with. That was 10 minutes of me telling you what I have to do today. Aren't you glad you know that now, ladies and gentlemen? Aren't you glad I went into it? I mean, your life is so much better now.
Yes, we are. We are glad.
Anyway, so that's what I got to do. Oh, and by the way, because I didn't bring it up in there, dude, if I was to order butter, just example, and you gave me margarine, that is not a replacement. That's a choice, right? You know what else is a choice? And this pisses me off. And this is going to be the whitest thing I'm going to say all day. For those of you that are only listening, Jerry just rubbed his hands together. He would have pulled the popcorn. The whitest thing I'm about to say today is, Jerry, avocado oil is not olive oil. It's not. It's not. But that's what they gave me instead of avocado oil. I know that seems like nothing. This is first world problems a lot, but it's not, because that's a breakdown in society. It really, really is, Jerry. No, because it is indicative of people not giving a fuck about detail. That's why it makes me mad, right? I don't give a fuck if I never have avocado oil again in my life. I don't care. I only had it a couple months ago because someone gave it to me. It would never have occurred to me to even. So this isn't like, I want my avocado oil, but it's just the detail. It drives me absolutely bonkers that people do not pay attention to detail. Just simple things. I'm not asking anybody to break their goddamn arm. It's just read, motherfucker. Read. Just read. And that's one of the proofs I'm going to put down there. I swear to God, it's already in my. I'm going to say, like, avocado oil is olive oil is not avocado oil, just as peanut oil is not olive oil. It's a different thing.
Read, motherfucker. Read.
Read, motherfucker. Read. Read, motherfucker. Read, motherfucker. Motherfucker. Read, motherfucker. Oh man, that's hard to say. Anyways, that might have been the whitest thing I've said all month. Well, okay, it's only the 6th, but
yeah, it's only the 6th. That was awesome. I think we should just end on that note. That was pretty
okay.
Good.
End on that note. Here we go.
So next week, folks, we'll be back, and we'll just have a general chat, probably mostly about the Snyderverse and anything else we're watching. We've been watching, we went through the whole Ted Lasso thing. Maybe we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a couple of things,
Yeah.
Well,
we didn't touch on that.
A little smattering of things before we get into the Snyder cut and the next Marvel property that's coming out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, thanks for a delightful conversation, sir.
My distinct pleasure. Thank you.
All right. So, folks, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching on YouTube if you're watching there. If you're watching on, listen to the podcast, thank you for following us. Yep. And you can check out any of the other ones. Also have other channels and.
Yeah, Jerry's working on something right now, which is just hilarious. You just want to go over to Greater Sapien. It's just really funny.
And then you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Details below.
Details below. All right.
All right.
Thanks for the call there, Bean.
My pleasure. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.